All right, here we are at the burn book of the century, Project 2025, the pettiest shit I've ever read, the Regina George of legal documents. It gets harder to read every chapter. We're at 316. This whole opening section to section 3 called General Welfare does not have an author. Does not have an author. There is nobody's name attached to the next 3 to 4 pages. And the next author is a guy named Darren Baskett. He's the author at the Daily Signal, and he's another Twitter user. Go figure. Heritage Foundation member. Go figure. A member of the Competitive Enterprise Institute, whatever the hell that is. But the section we're gonna read right now has no author. It just is what it is. Like, they wrote it. Somebody wrote it. For all I know, Chat GBT wrote it. Like, Lord. Let's get into it. My God, when will this document be over? When our founding fathers and the Constitution, blah, 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 promote general welfare, they could not have fathomed a massive bureaucracy that would someday spend $3 trillion in a single year, roughly the sum combined spent by departments covered in this section in 2022. Lord, you're behind. If you think we're gonna be running shit like we did in 2022, you're behind. This whole document is already like fucking 5 years behind because it's stuck in the pandemic years. Okay? Let's continue. HHS, home of Medicare and Medicaid, principal drivers of $31 trillion in national debt. When Congress passed and the President Lyndon B. Johnson signed into law the programs that they were set on autopilot with no plan on how to pay for them. The first year of Medicare spending with visible books in 1967, and from that point through 2020, according to the American Initiative, blah, 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 blah. Yes, you're worried about Medicare and Medicaid putting the country in debt. Go figure. I bet your solution's going to be to cut it, right? Wow. Groundbreaking. So original. Let's skip to something that's interesting. Blah, blah, blah. The CDC and the National Institute of Health, the duo, are responsible for irrational, destructive, and un-American mask and vaccine mandates. See, y'all are behind. Y'all are still mad about the pandemic. Y'all are still mad about the pandemic. Why? People died, you know? So, like, you guys give a fuck about that? Or did you make money off those deaths? Like, for real. Observational studies declared everyone except children and infants below the age of 2 to don masks under COVID, blah, 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 blah. So the CDC won't let me be or let me be me, so let me see. I'm gonna write a whole document about this and fuck over the FDA, but it feels so empty without masks. What? The incestuous relationship between the CDC and the NIH and vaccine makers, with all the conflict interest it entails, cannot be allowed to continue, with the revolving door between must be locked. Y'all talk about incestuous relationships between departments. It's the same government, yeah. And of course, Big Pharma does have a role to play in our healthcare system. Maybe if you didn't privatize and deregulate our healthcare system, maybe they wouldn't have such an incestuous relationship with our government. You guys think about that? You guys think about that? Incestuous relation. I can't believe I'm reading about incestuous relationships in the first few pages of this thing right now. Like, this is off to a great start. Get the banjo out. Incestuous. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. HHS also pushes for abortion as a form of health care, because it is. Because as we talked about in the other video, miscarriages And the procedures to treat miscarriages is part of healthcare. Because, obviously someone without a vagina wrote this. Oh, in fact, a lot of people that didn't have vaginas wrote the majority of this. So, they don't know, what women's health, or they don't have a concept of women's health. They just fuck pussy and see pussy on the screen. So, I'm off to a great start. This shit has me... This is 5 minutes in. I'm already, done with this shit. The next secretary should reverse the Biden's administration on LGBTQ equality, subsidizing single motherhood, devising work, and penalizing marriage. Replacing such policies would encourage marriage, work, motherhood, fatherhood, and nuclear families. See, there's one thing that Democrats know that the Republicans don't, is that fags have double income and no kids. And that is the only reason why Democrats switched their tune up in 2004. That is the only reason, is because some fags have money. So you think pink money ain't gonna stand for this? Pink money is now in our government, and there's nothing you can do about it, Heritage Foundation. And this Heritage Foundation, these motherfuckers that are writing this, with no author, by the way, I don't know who to credit for this chapter. They are the reason why Prop 8 happened. They are the reason why marriage equality was such a slog from 2004 to 2015. The back and forth between all that, that's those fuckers' fault, And there are some people that were out there in the streets fighting, but there are some Republican gays that just sat on their ass and did nothing and just said, I'll just accept the system the way it is and ignore everything. And guess what? They're now benefiting off the privileges that we, the people, the fags that actually made shit happen, they're now benefiting off that societal privilege that we worked hard for. And then they turn around and say, oh, trans people ain't people. Oh, they don't deserve healthcare. Oh, women? Who the fuck are women? What is a woman? They say. Bitch, ask your mama. Ask your mama what a woman is, okay? Shit. These motherfuckers are stupid. Oh, God. Hey, if this chapter doesn't have an author, does it mean I have to read it? Values of independence, impartiality, honesty, integrity, respect, and excellence. This is especially true of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI. The FBI, a bloated, arrogant, increasingly lawless organization, especially at the top. You calling the FBI lawless? What? You want presidential immunity to have this fool run around like Nixon, breaking laws and shit. Well, you gonna call the FBI lawless? Lord, this is comical. A bloated, lawless organization that is on par with our Attorney General rather than an agency that is under the Attorney General and fully accountable from him or her to rein in this completely out of control bureau and remind it of its place within our Office of General Counsel, on the top of the DOJ hierarchy. Hamilton writes the FBI is separate from the Office of General Counsel, with approximately 300 attorneys. There's a lesson to be learned. Don't fuck with the FBI. They got 300 plus attorneys. Okay? You think Disney lawyers are scary? No. It's about the FBI lawyers, man. 300 attorneys. Why are you dragging these organizations through the mud right now? You are mad. The Heritage Foundation, like I said in the last video, in the first 5 minutes, the Heritage Foundation is mad that they don't have as much political power because guess what? Fags can get married, and guess what? We're voting too, bitch. So, yeah. Elsewhere, the DOJ would target violent career criminals, not parents. And I encourage both the left and the right. I went from reading to things to now ranting. I encourage the left and the right to just cut off the Heritage Foundation. And I feel like that's already going to be happening with this document released like this. Just cut them off. Like, they are a bad apple. They are the seeds of discontent that will drive our country insane. So whether you're left or right, I think it's just time to cut the fat. If these fuckers want to cut the fat so bad in our government, cut off the FBI, cut off the CIA, cut off all these other organizations, we should cut them off too. With their logic, you know what I mean? It just makes sense to me. Department of Education discussed blah 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 by Lindsay Burke in chapter 11. The creation of Jimmy Carter. Okay, so whoever wrote this read a future chapter that we're gonna read that we haven't read yet. Got it. As the COVID era showed, blah blah blah. Y'all are just mad. Ugh. It's a similarity that much of the work to do. Chapter 10, Darren Baskets. Writes about the Department of Agriculture claims of transforming the food system. Okay, this is like a summary of what's going to be happening in these chapters, okay? So they're going through the authors and all that shit. Benjamin S. Carson in chapter 15. Bless. I can't wait to get into that chapter. Federally assisted housing, oversight and foreign ownership of U.S. real estate. Chapter 19. Okay. So whoever wrote the intro, they're getting no credit because there's no author. And then there's 2 blank pages, and then we are in the Department of Agriculture with Darren Basket. Should he be talking about agriculture if he's a business and finance guy? I really don't know. I don't think he does either. So let's go in. American farmers effectively and safely produce food to meet the needs of individuals around the globe. Because innovation and reliance on the nation's farmers, American agriculture is the model for the world. If farmers are allowed to operate without unnecessary government intervention, American agriculture will continue to flourish. Oh, you're talking about deregulating farming. You want to deregulate farming? You want to make that shit gross? I mean, we already have problems with regulated farming. Like, there is, like, sometimes they got to recall items because they got, like, Ebola or some shit. Or, like, pesticides or whatever. But you want to deregulate farming and think that's going to be great. You know, what was that state? That state that had child labor in one of the meatpacking places. And then that same state decided to roll back child labor laws, like, right after they got caught. You know the one I'm talking about. Yeah, you want to deregulate farming. Okay. Sure, bitch. Let's see if that's a good idea. Oh, a mission statement. Another one with a mission statement. To serve all Americans by providing effective, innovative, science-based public policy leadership of agriculture, food, nutrition, and national resource protection and management of rural development and related issues with commitment to delivering equitable and climate-smart opportunities that inspire to help America thrive. Oh shit, they're picking apart the mission statement. First part of the mission statement regarding issues covered in new Biden administration reflects the overly broad nature of the USDA's work. However, the language bringing equity and climate change is new to the Biden administration as part of the USDA's express effort to transform agricultural production. Yes, bitch, times are moving. Times are changing. You don't believe in climate change, look at Florida. Times they are changing. The effort of federal Central Planet Climate, blah, 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 blah. Proper mission statement. Oh God, they took the current mission statement, picked it apart, and then they're gonna come up with their own mission statement. This is like government fan fiction. This is like fan fiction written by people who want fantasy policies of like, oh, well, in my world, we would do it this way, and we would use this language, and we would say it like this, so this didn't... It's fan fiction. Project 2025 is legal and political fan fiction. Until proven otherwise. Who knows? Maybe 10 years from now, half of these policies might sneak into our books. That's the thing about this. There's so much of this that it could easily sneak into the books. Congress must limit the USDA's role. Proper mission would clarify the department's primary focus. Blah, 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 blah. How long is your mission statement? Why is the actual mission statement like 2 sentences and the proper mission statement is like 3 whole ass paragraphs? Taking these factors into account, below is a model USDA mission statement to develop and dismantle all agricultural wait. Hold up. Let's read this shit slowly. To develop and disseminate agricultural information research to identify and address concrete public health safety threats directly connected to food and agriculture, to remove both unjustified foreign trade barriers for U.S. goods and domestic government barriers that undermine safe and affordable food absent from a compelling need, all based on the importance of sound science, personal freedom, private property, rule of law, and service to all Americans. All right, there's a sentence that catches my eye. It catches my eye because we do a lot of foreign food trade with countries, and that last president, y'all know the one, he liked to put tariffs on everything. So, what is that? Hold up. To remove both unjustified foreign trade barriers for U.S. goods. Isn't tariffs, aren't they a barrier, bro? Your own party doesn't even believe in this mission statement, bro. Bro, hang it up. Overview. President, oh my God, when are these motherfuckers gonna stop talking about President Abraham Lincoln? Jesus Christ. President, I blew my security guards back out, Lincoln. Oh my God. Based on the USDA, oh my God, no. We're on here. I'm okay. Next. Major priority issues and scientific recommendations. For incoming administration, there are numerous issues that should be addressed in the USDA. The chapter discusses the most important issues, rational priority issues in the administration. Defend American agriculture. It is deeply unfortunate that for the first issue is the willingness to incoming administration to defend American agriculture. It should be previously discussed and probably was seeking the use of federal government to transform the American food system. USDA website explains U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, alongside Biden and Harris administration leadership, is a great country embarked on another historic journey to transforming the food system we know it from farm to fork. That's cute. At every stage along the supply chain. The federal government does not need to transform the food system or develop a national plan to intervene across a supply chain. So you want to deregulate it? Is that your answer? You want to deregulate it? Learning from the COVID-19 pandemic, it is critical to remove barriers from the food system, not increase them. You want to deregulate it, okay. You want to deregulate farming. You want to talk about deregulating farming here. There are some barriers that are not government related. Microsoft and other big tech companies, they keep buying up farmland. They keep buying up big old states worth of farmland, okay? Several states. They own several lands. And you don't think that's not harming the agriculture system? I want to know what that answer is. I want to know if there's an answer for that in this. There probably isn't, because it's going to be solely focused on American bureaucracy and not, the things and money affecting American bureaucracy. Like I said, these fuckers don't want to go for the problem. They want to go for someone to blame to say that they fixed the problem when really they ain't fixing shit, because Bill Gates is still going to own half your farmland. Okay? Like, for real. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Sorry. The millennial in me is kicking in. Sorry. USDA explained that it is concerned with not transforming the organic farming, but therefore announced it will dedicate $300 million to induce farmers to adopt organic farming. There is no recognition that farmers know how to farm better than DC politicians. That's a dig right there, isn't it? But you guys that wrote this, you're not farmers either. You're also DC politicians. So you said it, not me, okay? You were thinking it. I was thinking it, but you said it, okay? Like, if this were a drinking game, I would be wasted because of how many times these people put their foot in their mouth. American agriculture should not need defending. Actually, yes, it does. It needs defending from Bill Gates before he builds some fucking towers on your farmland. You know what we should do? Give the fucking land back to the natives and maybe they can farm, motherfucker. Y'all complain about natives not being able to develop their land. Oh, the natives can't develop their land because it's tribal area. Bitch, you just want the oil. You don't want them to grow. You don't want them to grow food and be competition. You just want their fucking oil. That's why you want natives to develop their land. Okay, don't be fucking with me on this. We read about this in the other chapter. Oh, Lord. Proactively defend agriculture. From the outset, administration denounce efforts to play blah, 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 blah. Okay, what are your bullet points? There's 4 of them. It's the magic number in this book, 4. Remove U.S. or any association with the UN and other efforts to push sustainable development schemes from connected to food production. Defend American agriculture and advance cultural importance of innovative food production, especially in advance of safe and affordable food. I'm going to remember that one, bitch. Stress that ideal policy should remove obstacles imposed on the American farmers and individuals across the food supply chain so that they can meet the food needs of Americans. We can already do that. The funniest thing, you keep bringing up the pandemic, and it keeps reminding me that America was so poor and farming had an oversupply of things that they started dumping gallons, truckfuls of milk and dairy in the middle of nowhere. Y'all remember that? When, people weren't buying certain things fast enough and farms had to, waste that shit instead of, donate that shit and actually feed Americans? Okay? Oh, whose administration was in charge? Oh, yeah, I remember. Y'all were. Just saying. If you really want to fucking put your money where your mouth is. Stress. It will clarify critical importance of efficiency of food affordability. That is why a failure to recognize this fact especially hurts low-income households who spend a disproportionate share of their tax income on food compared to higher-income households. Okay, that's something that's interesting. They're pretending to give a fuck about the poor and how we spend our money. They're saying that we spend more money on food than rich people. Can you tell me how? Tell me how. Do they got like... Okay. Okay, I'm gonna remember those. I'm gonna remember 2 of those bullet points for later, okay? Accomplish these objectives, a new administration and announce principles, blah, 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 blah. Address abuse of the CCC authority, with the exception of the Federal Crop Insurance. Commodity Credit Corporation is generally the means in which agriculture-related farm bill programs are funded. The CCC is a funding mechanism which, in simple terms, has $30 billion a year at its disposal. Section 5, Commodity Credit, the Charter Act, gives the Secretary of Agriculture a broad authority to spend unused CCC money. However, in general, past agriculture secretaries have not used this power in any meaningful extent. This changed dramatically during the Trump administration, when Directory Authority used $28 billion in trade aid to farmers, consisting primarily of market facilitation program. In 2020, the authority used $20.5 billion in food purchases that income subsidiaries in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. At the time, critics warned that the use of the CCC would created a USDA slush fund, which would lead to future administrations' abuse of the CCC, such as by pushing climate change policies. Oh no. We're gonna use the CCC money for climate change policies? This is kind of too late, bro. Look at Florida. God, this whole document is gonna be dated as fuck next year. Like, I mean, if it wasn't obvious by the name of it, like, especially the money amounts, because you know inflation gonna go up. You know that 30 million gonna turn to 40 million, then it's gonna turn into some ungodly amount we can't even fathom. That, or they're going to do the opposite, and after this document is released like this, they're just going to pretend like that money doesn't exist and cut everything and then use that money for something else. The government's petty, you know that. At the time, critics warned that the use of the climate change, blah, 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 the merits of various programs funded by the CCC Directory Authority does not focus on this discussion. The major problem is that Secretary of Agriculture is empowered to use a slush fund, billions of dollars being used for programs that Congress never envisioned or intended. Oh, now you're trying to get Congress involved in this? I thought you didn't like Congress, bro. I thought half this book really hated Congress. You gotta get Congress involved in this again? Girl, these people, I swear. Refrain from using Section 5 Directory Authority. USDA address abuses of its following. Lead most administrations to not using Directory Authority. Promote legislative fixes to address abuse. Ideally, Congress could repeal the Secretary's Directory Authority under Section 5 in the Charter Act to maintain such authority. If Congress needs to spend money to assist farmers in its legislative tools, including the Farm Bill annual appropriation process, to do so in a timely fashion. While it is not an ideal situation, Congress could amend the Charter Act to require prior congressional approval on duty elected legislation before any money is spent. Oh, now you want Congress fully involved in agriculture. That could have consequences, especially with lobbyists buying off our Congress people. Lobbyists like Microsoft and all these companies that have lobbyists that could sway Congress opinion with the sign of $1. Hey, I got you $1. Hey, you want to change some laws for me? So by deregulating, they are re-regulating. Just like birth by sleep, okay? They're deregulating by regulating. Like, our laws collide, not allowing another contender. It gives me a fucking headache just thinking about it. At minimum, Congress should amend the Charter Act. At minimum. Just at minimum. I like how they said, like, at worst, you should amend the Charter Act, but at the bare minimum, you should amend the Charter Act. The language they use is just like, well, I know you don't want to amend the Charter Act, but you should do it. Amend the Charter Act to limit spending to directly help farmers and ranchers address issues due to unforeseen events not already covered by the existing programs that constitute genuine emergencies that must be addressed immediately. Prohibit the CCC from being used to assist parties beyond farmers and ranchers. Clarify that spending only to address problems temporary in nature, that funding to address these problems. Tighten and discern Section 5 to identify ways to improper application of the Charter Act to be challenged in court. So I like how they're like, you should amend the Charter Act, and if you don't amend the Charter Act, we're gonna challenge the Charter Act in court. I ain't getting what I want. I ain't getting what I want, and I take your ass to court. I'm speechless. Reform farm subsidies. Too often agriculture, blah, 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 blah. USDA and regulation covers a range of issues. However, there is no question that farm subsidies are an important issue within agricultural policy as addressed by incoming administration. These principles some league supporters likely to agree upon, including and prevention, subsidize, blah, 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 blah. Overall goal is to eliminate subsidiary departments, despite it might be controversial for many farmers to receive no subsidiaries. Overall goal is to eliminate subsidiary dependence. Despite what conventional wisdom, many farmers receive few to no subsidiaries. There's a source number to that, which means that's not necessarily true. There are some exceptions. Which subsidiaries are going to only a handful of commodities, including Congressional Research Service from 2014 to 2016. Rest in peace. The rest in peace, Congressional Research Service. Support went to 6 communities: cotton, corn, rice, soybeans, and wheat. Together, the amount only 28% of farm receipts. Although many farmers do not receive much in the way of subsidiaries, especially those in the areas of livestock and especially crops, fruit, vegetable, and nuts. There is still a significant number of farmers growing row crops like corn, cotton, receive significant farm subsidiaries. The primary subsidiary programs include Agricultural Risk Coverage Program, the Price Loss Coverage, and the Federal Crop I got lost. Farmers participate in the crop-by-crop basis, the ARC program, PLC programs. These programs cover about 20 different crops. That's not a whole lot of crops. Maybe we should expand that instead of deregulating that, just saying. The ARC program protects farmers from what is referred to as shallow losses, providing payments when their actual revenues fall below short of 86% expected revenues for their crops. The PLC program provides payments to farmers when commodity prices fall below a fixed stationary established reference price. You gonna give the Democrats shit for regulated fixed pricing? And yet you're discussing it here. You're discussing it here like you want something to happen with that. It's very suspicious. No wonder why the left likes toting this thing around. The Federal Crop Insurance Program, border scope in the ARC and the PLC, the crop year 2016 and 2019 to 124 commodities. Farmers pay a portion of a premium to participate in the program. Taxpayers, on average, pay about 60% of that premium. Explained by the CRS, the revenue production of the most frequently purchased policy type of 2019, according to almost 70% of policies purchased. So that's good to know. 60% of your taxes are going to agriculture. Hey, who knew? Now you know. Who said this document is a national security risk? It's giving info to the people, kinda. That was me, I said that. When it comes to reforming cemetery programs, we got bullet points. I'm not going to bother with the 2 sentences. Let's read the bullet points. Repeal the federal sugar program. You want to deregulate sugar. Yeah? You want to deregulate sugarcane. How do you want to do it? What? You gonna trade with Cuba again? You gonna use Cuban labor for the sugarcane again? Just bad jokes. Those are some bad slavery jokes. I'm really sorry. These people, they talk about helping farmers and they talk about keeping things in check and regulated, and yet their proposals are get rid of that program. Lord. The federal government should not be a central planning business. The sugar program is a prime example of harmful central planning. Its very purpose is to limit sugar supply in order to increase prices. The program is a regressive effect since the low-income households spend more of their money on to meet food needs compared to higher-income households. You expect me to believe that you want to deregulate the sugar program because it's going to help low-income families in the long run? Because, low-income families be buying sugar? The leaps in logic in this are fascinating. It's like, we should do this because I like poor people. We should deregulate the sugar program because I, the author, like poor people. Like that's gonna be a solid defense in legislation. Like, okay, well, I want to call bullshit so bad. When I call bullshit, I get to stop reading. Stop paying farmers twice for the price of revenue losses during the same year. Wow. I bet farmers are going to love this section. Farmers receive support from the programs and federal crop insurance program. By the way, these programs help keep our country moving and fed, so, maybe we shouldn't fuck with something that's not broken. I mean, if there are a lot of broken things in our country, farming and agriculture, it's not exactly broken. So their efforts to try to fix it are to break it even further and make farmers poor. No federal assistance. Oh, sorry, you have a farm, you have thousands of workers, and you feed half the country and half of another country. I'm sorry. No government aid. Nah. God. Reduce premium subsidy rate of crop insurance. Oh. Okay, that's something people can get behind. Okay, I know these farmers and I know these people are paying these premium prices for this to be part of the program. Cutting the price of that will help That would help. That kind of deregulation would help. So far, they're proposing 50% of the premium. And, it's mostly about the taxpayers. Never mind. After all, taxpayers should not have to pay more than the farmers who benefit from the crop policies. But yet, taxpayers go to the grocery store and enjoy these crops from all these farms. But they don't have to pay the taxes. Nah, we'll figure out the taxes later. Like, it did sound good until it sounded stupid. Good ideas. They sound good until they sound stupid. Communicate to Congress the necessity of transparency and a genuine reform process. Good luck with that. Congress trying to reform anything? Talk about Congress trying to reform anything? Good luck. The White House and the USDA should make it clear that the Farm Bill process, including reform, blah, 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 blah. Ditched open process with time to mark up the opportunity for challenges that made outside agriculture committee process. The Farm Bill is often developed behind any chance to real reform. Oh. Go ahead, girl. Try to communicate to Congress. Good luck. Separate the agricultural provisions from the Farm Bill. Separate the agricultural provisions from the Farm Bill from the nutrition provisions. Why are we breaking up that? Let's see. We have a genuine reform, proper consideration issues, agricultural programs considered to separate legislation distinct from food stamps. Oh, as a nutrition part of the food bill. Oh, here it is. Here's the real tea. Food stamps is under the nutrition part of the Farm Bill. They want to take the food stamp part of the Farm Bill and separate it from agriculture, making it more of a legislative thing, making more of a legislative topic that they can talk about, argue about, and then repeal. I see you. Bitch, I see you. I see you. You know, maybe that part of that 60% of the taxes we pay for agriculture maybe does go back into food stamps. So, like, I see you with trying to cut the taxes that fund food stamps and then pulling food stamps out of agriculture. It is the real tea. This has nothing to do with farmers. It's everything to do with money. And I want to call bullshit so bad. I want to call bullshit so bad. Reform SNAP. Oh, here it is. Re-implement work requirements. Oh, Lord. Reform broad-based categorical eligibility. Reevaluate the 30 food plan. Lord. They want y'all to starve. And they don't give a damn. They really do. Oh, they're talking about how Daddy Trump was trying to reform food stamps, but then the court got in the way. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. Lord. Eliminate heat and eat loophole. States artificially boost households' food stamp benefit by using the heat and eat loophole. What the hell is that? The amount of food stamps a household receives based on a countable income, and certain deductions. Households receive benefits from low-income heat and energy assistance program, eligible for larger utility deduction in order to make households eligible for a higher deduction. Thus, the greater food stamp benefits states have distributed checks the amounts of small as $1 of food stamps receipts. Okay. What that paragraph tells me, and what the several paragraphs before and after are trying to tell me, is that they're trying to deregulate food stamps so they can, have better control over it. Good luck. Reform state voucher system. La la la. Oh, you want to? I thought it was state. I thought you believed in states' rights. Well, why don't you let the states organize food stamps? Like they have been for the past, I don't know how many past decade at least. Okay. Past 2 decades. I forget how much time has passed. Excuse me. Evaluate regulation, return, original purpose of school. Oh, federal meal programs for K-12 students were created to provide food for children in low-income families in school. Today, however, federal school meals resemble entitlement programs that have stayed far from the original objective that represent. Okay. Heritage Foundation researches the amount of, oh my god, they want to take away school lunches. This whole 5-ass paragraphs, whole-ass page is about how your fucking kids are so entitled that they don't deserve the K-12 fucking school meal program. Who let these fuckers in charge? Oh, wait, I remember. Y'all did. God, I'm calling bullshit. I can't do this chapter anymore. I can't. It's petty. Again, like most of these chapters, it is petty. It's trying to gut money from all these different departments. Anything they're mentioning in this thing, they're trying to gut money from. Because you know who's writing this chapter? The chapter is being written by a fucking money man, an accountant, a guy who does corporate business. What the fuck does he know about farming? I really don't fucking know. And obviously, he doesn't know shit about farming. He knows more about pulling money out of places and putting them into other places. And that is what this whole chapter is. So when we come back, we're going to be on page... La 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 da 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 da. We're going to be on page 352 with Lindsay M. Burke. And that name sounds familiar. And this chapter, the Department of Education, is going to be a fun one. Bet. But yeah, no. Stay healthy, eat well, use your food stamps while you have them, and don't hate your neighbor, okay? Just grow better food, okay? Like, grow better food before they deregulate it and turn everything to crap.